Automation is one of those things that promises to make our lives so much easier, right? It connects our apps, it handles all the boring stuff in the background. But what happens when your simple little automations start to grow up? Well, they get complex, they get really expensive, and eventually they just hit a wall. Today, we're going to talk about a tool that was built specifically to smash right through that wall. So let me just ask you this straight up. Have you ever built a workflow in a tool, maybe something like Zapier, and you're super proud of it, and then you get the bill at the end of the month? Yeah, that feeling of sticker shock is a really common growing pain for anyone who's getting serious about automation. Okay, let's just look at the numbers for a second because they tell a pretty brutal story. Let's say we have a reasonably complex data pipeline. We're talking 1,000 runs a month, maybe 50 steps each. The cost difference it's just staggering. Over $1,000 versus maybe 50. And look, this isn't just about saving a few bucks. This is about unlocking the ability to build really powerful, high-volume systems without bankrupting your entire project. So we've seen the cost, and that's a huge deal, but it's really just one piece of the puzzle. Let's talk about the bigger problem that a tool like n8n was designed to solve, the actual limits of automation. The standard tools, they're fantastic for simple if this, then that kinds of tasks. But as your needs get more sophisticated, you start demanding more, right? You want full control of your own data, you need to handle way more complex logic, and you definitely can't afford to pay per step for every single tiny operation. And that right there is the wall. So how do you get through that wall? Well, this is where n8n comes into the picture. It's a solution that was built from the ground up, specifically for developers and technical users who are demanding more power and a lot more control. So meet n8n. It's what's called a fair code platform, which is kind of like open source. It basically means you can always see the source code, and most importantly, you can host it yourself. It just has some commercial protections that keep the project going. The point is, this isn't just another point-and-click tool. It's a developer-centric automation engine. So what does that actually mean? The name, n8n, it stands for Node Everywhere Node, and it's a visual node-based workflow builder. It lets you connect all your different APIs, your databases, and custom logic in a way that feels a lot like visual programming. And right off the bat, you get a really fundamental choice to make. You can use their managed cloud version, which is great for a quick start, or you can self-host it on your own infrastructure. Now, for developers, that self-hosted option is the absolute game changer. It means you have total control over your data, ultimate security, and it's just unbeatable on cost. So let's break down exactly why this is a developer's dream tool. First, you get a visual editor that can actually handle complex logic, things like branches and loops. You got over 300 deep API-first integrations. But here's the real magic. At any step, you can just drop in a code node and write raw JavaScript or Python. You could even build your own custom nodes in TypeScript. It's designed to be extended right at its core. So what does it actually feel like to build something with this? Let's walk through the main concept. Honestly, the best analogy is Lego. Every service, every piece of logic, every API call is just a block. Your job is to snap them together to build something cool and powerful. Every single workflow has to start somewhere, and in n8n, that first Lego block is called a trigger node. This is the event that's listening to the outside world. It could be a webhook coming in, a new email in your inbox, or just a scheduled time. And it's the thing that says, go. And from that trigger, you just start connecting your action nodes. This visual here shows the flow perfectly. You can pull some data with an HTTP request, then maybe use a filter node to make a decision, and then a merge node to combine data from different places. Each node does one specific job and just passes its result on to the next one. Now, building the Hoppy path is easy, but we all know that in the real world, APIs fail, data gets messy, and things break. So let's talk about building workflows that don't just work, but are actually resilient. This quote from a developer on Reddit is just pure gold because it's so painfully true. Error handling in a demo is simple, but error handling in production, that is a completely different beast. So here are some hard-won lessons, straight from the trenches. First, build your own custom retries with actual logic and weights. Don't just take the default retry on fail box. Second, be smart about what you retry. A 400 bad request error means your input is wrong. Retrying it 100 times isn't going to fix it. Third, always have a plan B, a different API, a different logic branch. And finally, log smarter. Capture the inputs in the context, not just a useless error message that says something went wrong. Okay, now that we know how to build robustly, let's see what's really possible when you combine all these ideas. We're going way beyond simple notifications now and into true system orchestration. Imagine this scenario. It's the middle of the night, and your server goes down. Instead of getting a frantic page waking you up, what if an automated system tried to fix it for you first? Here's how that would work in n8. Step 1. Uptime robot detects the failure and hits a webhook. 2. An execute command node runs a shell script on your server to try and restart nginx. 3. A Cloudflare node purges the cache. 4, and this happens at the same time, it sends alerts to both Slack and WhatsApp. And 5, get this, it can even pause the whole thing and send a message to Discord, waiting for a human to approve the next step. The takeaway here is huge. We've moved way beyond just syncing data between a few SaaS tools. This is automation that is actively managing and recovering your core infrastructure. It's a proactive system, not just a reactive messenger. And all of this brings us to a final, really powerful idea. With native integrations for things like AI frameworks and vector databases, we are right on the cusp of the next big evolution. So I'm going to leave you with this question. What if your workflows could do more than just follow instructions? What if they could actually think for themselves?